Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Build a Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. We're back for part 81 today and we have got a lot of alarming news. Now normally, and the planned title for this episode, was a familiar face who was a record signing, and that was all it was going to be. We were going to be delighted. Since then though, it has just been disaster after disaster. We've had a 2-week break from fixtures and we're back today with games that we wouldn't normally show. Whether we'll get one or both in, we're yet to find out. But there's a lot of alarms, there's a lot of problems off the pitch, there's a few problems on it. And just as the title race looked like it was going to be in our grasp, potentially it could be falling away. So if you're looking forward to finding out what's going on, as well as finding out who we drew in the Europa League first knockout round, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. And of course, you can catch up with all the playlists in the eye above, some new things coming over the next few weeks as well, and the Twitch channel is in the description below. Thank you so much for your incredible support. But let's go and talk about disaster, shall we? At the end of the last episode, everything was looking great. We got through from the Champions League into the Europa League knockouts. We also were looking good in the league. We were getting away with results and we were starting to look like champions. However, it started going wrong on the pitch and then off it. Let's start with the results. So since you were last with me, that good effort against Arsenal, that snuck victory against Carmarthen in the Welsh Cup. We were in scintillating form for the rest of the month, bar one game. We beat Kefin Druid 6-0, Greg Pringle with 4, Yesden Weaver and Joe Duffy with a goal. 2-1 Champions victory against Barrytown United. Bradley Gibbons 40 nicked a point late on. Greg Pringle retaliated by completing his brace. A 7-0 win away at Llandudno, 4 for Greg Pringle, including 2 in the second minute, ironically. 2 for Joe Duffy and 1 for Callum Maguire. And a 3-0 win at home to Llandudno, the same opponents. A better outcome, and to be honest, the red card made it. It was 0-0 for 68 minutes. It wasn't a great performance, but after the red card, our backup team really took charge. Ryan Hughes, the young Tom Jones, and Dara Leahy as well. Tom Jones, bit of an interesting one. He's had interest from Raith Rovers, who are now a mid-table SPL team, and have got players on 12 to 15 grand a week. He was unhappy we rejected a bid from them. He's not going anywhere, even if he is unhappy. But there are people trying to tempt him away and we've got to be a little bit careful. We managed to win him round this time, but fingers crossed we'll be able to get him on board and we'll be able to keep him involved and help him keep developing. He's touch wood, staying injury free at the moment. Into January though, it all started to go wrong. Against TNS in the League Cup semi-final, we were brilliant. We dominated the match. We had chance after chance after chance. Didn't take any of them. Lost on penalties. Brooks and Cannell missed as it was a dismal effort from the spot kicks. And TNS get through to the final, which they've won to strengthen their case. They're getting players on board. They're winning competitions. And bar Billy Vigart, they've managed to get most people down to new contracts too. So they're keeping their squad strong. At home to Barlow, we bounced back with a 3-0 win. Brooks, Lloyd and Pringle with first half goals. But is it enough? I'm not quite sure. We'll probably win the Welsh Premier League again. Other things are looking a bit dodgy. We've got what should be a pretty easy fixture in the Welsh Cup today. We'll wait and see if that pans out. We've got Dundee reserves in the SPFL Trust Trophy semi-final. And in normal circumstances, I'd be very excited for Dinamo Kiev in the Europa League first knockout round. Because if you remember, in the group stages last year, these were the side that we beat 6-2 in that memorable home game. If we could replicate that, we'll be very happy. But I'm not sure we will based on a couple of key factors. So let's look at the disasters off the pitch as well. So you can see the rejected offer for Tom Jones there. We've had offers for Badebo, a couple of the others too. Peter Blackburn looks like he's going on loan to the leaders in a second tier Colwyn Bay. And Kai Collins going out on loan potentially to our feeder club Afan Lido. There's also a few others on the board as well. So we'll see which one he chooses. But if we go to our history, it doesn't look bad from here, but I can assure you it is. Our record signing is a familiar name from the live stream series with Dundee United. He's just left us over there, but had been with us for 2 or 3 years. Morgan Boys comes in from Aberdeen for 210 grand. Now, we were looking for a really solid backup defender, and we actually found someone who could compete at first team level. Just about as good at Badebo at centre half. He's 27 years of age, he's Welsh, he's great, he's natural at left back, he's natural at centre half. He seemed to be the perfect solution to fill the squad. He's now, though, been thrusted in as our first choice left back. Not because of the sale of Joe Griffiths to TNS. Not because of Paul Glatzel, who couldn't break back into the team after injury going over to China. not because of a couple of youngsters going out on loan. But more importantly, because 2 of our star defenders and both of the loan defenders were called back by their parent clubs. Yes, Den Weaver was the first of them. He wasn't called back for any particular reason from us, other than Birmingham had made an offer for him and they'd taken over his contract, so the loan deal ended. He was out of contract at Brighton at the end of the year. We tried to put in an offer, he didn't want to discuss it. He's got 52 caps for the under-21s. He will surely be a senior international at some point. But he goes there for £4,500 a week, a wage we would have happily matched if we'd been given the chance. And then, the one that we forgot about. We said McDermott would be a centre-half on defend. He's ended up not playing there. He's been a ball-playing defender on defend. And as a result, he's recalled by Middlesbrough. We can't go to loan him back, because we've already had our 4 for the season. We can't get him on a transfer, because we've not got a big enough standing for him to join. So it looks like we've lost out on Peter McDermott too. So from Morgan Boys coming to compete with the likes of Weaver and the likes of McDermott, he's now got to replace one of them, with the other position getting weaker as well. There are big problems here at Bangor City. Defensively, we just cannot get a solid back 4 because we're always reliant on loan players. We finally fixed right back with Keegan Riley, and now we've got a problem in 2 other areas. So a lot more to come on that. I'm sure there will be some transfers later on. There might be some last-ditch attempts at free agent deals, but for now, we're a little bit weakened in that area, and it really is a crisis looking ahead to the European games, and particularly for strength in depth in 2 or 3 competitions. So not exactly what we wanted. We've lost our 2-star defenders, but let's go and get into the cup tie, which should be a little relief from that. It should be our easy day at the office. We've got a week off after, so we can play largely a first team. And I've basically picked the strongest 11 and then chucked Holding in centre half. We obviously need a replacement out there. And Tom Jones in the number 10. The 2 best youngsters getting football. The 2 with the highest potential getting games. Archie Woods is in for Lewis, who's got an injury. The rest of it's first choice. So let's go and see what it can do. It's George Wickens in goal. Riley and Boys the fullbacks with Badebo and Holding at centre half. Woods, Williams, who I've just brought in for Canal, Brooks and Jones the midfield diamond. And then Duffy and Pringle up front. 27 goals apiece. And I can't extend Pringle's loan at the moment either. That's a cause for concern too. Because if we lose him in the summer, that's probably 3 of our 4 best players gone. Because for all of the quality we've got in the side, there's no doubt in the best players are still the lone ones. So let's go and get into this game. It's a big one in the Welsh Cup because we need to stay in these competitions now. We've fallen in the Welsh Cup again. We're going to go out of Europe. The title race is by no means over. And the Welsh Cup becomes our banker. Let's go and see if we can progress. Into the game we go. Jason Savage, one of our young loan players, is involved in the squad. For the rest of it though, we have to win. I know we've got a couple of weaknesses, particularly with the young players that have come in. But it's a great chance for them to develop, because looking at Peter Holding's potential, he could be that solution that means we don't have to rely on loan players going forward. I haven't seen evidence of it. Even when he's trained well, his attributes haven't increased that much. But is that just the lack of game time? In the easier league games, I'm going to endeavour to start him. Now there's not a set in stone first choice back 4. It's basically Hughes, Rogers or Holding, and I'll go Holding wherever possible. As Perry gets it on the left-hand side for Afenlido. I might change my mind depending on this performance though. As Woods goes long up to Pringle, to Duffy, to Jones, the number 10. Pringle's running off him. He's held back by the player there. He gets in himself though, Jones, and rattles the woodwork. It's cleared away by Beck for a throw-in. But almost an early goal for the youngster there. As it's a throw on the right-hand side for Keegan Riley, to Duffy on the right. Chance to cut it back. It's in towards Jones. And the youngster's got the first goal. Duffy's just starting to find his form again. An assist rather than a finish that time. But Tom Jones, when he came into that team 1.5 years, 2 years ago, he looked brilliant. He's had injury problems. He's played out of position a few times due to other injuries. But now he's starting to look good. As Keegan Riley gets it from a short free kick. Williams down the line to Duffy again. Again it's Jones making that run into the middle. Duffy goes in. Gotta be a penalty kick. Who's going to take it? The best at the club is Duffy. Pringle's not far behind, and neither's Jones. So do you know what? I'm going to give Tom Jones this one. Duffy's missed a few this year, so's Brooks. Let's see what Jones does with his. Right-footed, the youngster steps up. We could ruin his confidence, but if he scores it, it would have been great. He's not. It's saved easily. It's basically a back pass. Out for a corner kick. Probably a management mistake there on reflection, as Williams puts the corner into the back post. Headed away as far as Hayes. Williams in towards Pringle, who loses out. Badebo knocks it down. Chance to shoot, goes back to Brooks. He does shoot. It's blocked away as far as Bright. and the highlight peters out, but we have been utterly dominant so far. Until there, I thought it was stopping for a free kick. Looked like a bit of off-the-ball action there from Badebo, but he gets away with it. And it's back to George Wickens, who plays out from the back. To Boys, the left-back, who's settling in as a first-team member. Into Brooks, and now Jones. It's weird really, isn't it? As Duffy gets in behind, chance to make it 2 and does. We'd brought Boys in to possibly compete with Badebo for centre-half. And now we're reliant on them to hold the back four together, as we've lost the best two. In this one though, we're 2-0 up in 20 minutes. And after all the disasters earlier on, we are going to get a chance to just have a breather and hopefully enjoy this one. I've got a youth intake preview to show you after the game as well. There's a slightly more positive bit of news on that front, but Beck's playing out from the right, and what we don't want to do is give Athenlido a route back into this, as holding volleys clear downfield. Duffy will chase it, but he's not going to get there, and Lloyd goes back to his keeper Harding. Playing short out from the back, you've got to praise them the way they're trying to play. Out to Bright on the right wing, he finds Williams in midfield, long over the top, Wickens will get there. No idea what they were aiming for. As Boyd gets it at left back, so a long highlight should lead to a goal we hope. It's through towards the keeper, almost a mix-up. Pringle chased it all the way, but the goal kicks out. We have been watching this for a good minute and a half now. Is something going to happen? Brooks gets the ball on the edge of the centre circle, through to Greg Pringle. It is going to happen. 3-0, tie over, Bangor City through. Excellent performance from the first team, and the two youngsters looking very comfortable here. As the hosts are straight down the other end with a throw-in. Perry's cross is blocked by Riley. He can clear long downfield towards Duffy. Holds it up well for Pringle. Can he make it 4? We'd really like to build the confidence with a massive win here. But Pringle drags that one wide to the far post. It remains 3, but it's dominant so far. And the youngsters getting a really good taste of first team action too. Well, first half stoppage time, it's been a dominant display. Our expected goals is actually above 3 now. As Lloyd plays long downfield for the host. Only finds Archie Woods and now Holding. To Badebo and into Morgan Boys. Time on the ball, switches it instead to Riley. Over the top towards Duffy, beats the keeper, beats the defender and smashes it in off the near post as well. 4-0, perfect timing for it. I don't think we've got any youngsters on the bench because it's only 5 subs today. But if we've got an opportunity to bring someone on like a Malone, like a Hankin, then we'll do it straight away. Let's go and get to the tactics in fact. Archie Woods we were recommended to give 45 minutes, so Malone on for him. I will rest Badebo because he's so important. We'll put Riley in at centre-half and Jack Hankin can come on right back. That's what we'll do for now. The youngsters can get a run out. The players from the youth academy can get a go. And 45 minutes, we surely can't bottle this. And we're back as Williams picks it up just inside the Athenlido half. Finds Brooks. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Morgan Boys into Brooks again. To Jones. Through to Duffy. Could it be another assist? Oh, it's just wide from Duffy. And we're back, 13 minutes gone in the second half, and Riley's getting the ball from the Wickens rollout. Tries to go direct this time, but it's given away to Deutsch, and Athenlido can play down the right. Back to the fullback Beck. Chance to play long, goes to Bright instead, and Boys intercepts, finds Pringle on the left. He's probably the other one we'll protect. Him and Brooks are the 2 key men left. We've got to make sure they're still fit. Duffy's missed another sitter there. He really should have done better. But I think of the 2... Pringle's probably more important to us. So Williams is going to take this and then we'll make the change. Duffy heads up more than away. Malone brings it down and he does clear though. Long downfield to Pringle. He's got loads of support with him. Beats a defender. He's got 2 with him. He's challenged but it falls for Daniel Williams. He's in 1-on-1. Slides it past the keeper and just past the post too. 4-0 Bangor City. We can't get another goal. But Pringle will come off. We'll go back to the old school front two. Dean and Duffy combine back to their traditional roles. And we'll just try and see this one out comfortably. But a really good start in this game. And for all of our worries off the pitch, this is just softening it slightly. Back with 10 minutes to go as Ian Brooks plays into Duffy. Jones has got there again. He finds Max Dean. We'd like to get him a goal off the bench, but instead goes back to Morgan Boys. Towards Duffy on the left. There's 2 in the middle. Jones is one of them. He scores again. And despite missing that penalty, he has been brilliant today. Tom Jones with 2. It's 5-0 to Bangor City. It's been a ruthless display. Look at the expected goals. Closer to 6 than it is 5. And for Jones, for holding, a great experience, a great performance, and a wonderful cup tie. Yes, it's one we should have won like this. But we've not always been doing that, particularly in the cups. So really good to get a good win under our belts. Let's go and skip ahead. We'll have a look at the youth intake preview. Because that's the thing that we're sort of reliant on now. We could do with a couple of great defenders from that. And all of our problems would sort of be gone for next year. Let's go and see what we've got. Well, you can see on screen just about all of the other big boys snuck through in the cup. Aberystwyth with a hammering of Newtown, but TNS took extra time to beat Real, who are just starting to challenge for promotion from the second tier with the Phoenix Club. Barrytown United won 1-0 against Airbus UK, Gibbons again with a goal there. And generally, the Welsh teams are starting to improve now, and it's getting a bit more competitive. If we have a very quick look at the transfer window before I take you to the youth intake, there's quite a lot going on again. There's been over half a page so far. TNS are trying to sign some of our higher potential youngsters, which is good. Barry have taken the best player from Cardiff Met Uni in the second tier, so again, strengthening their squad. It's a player they had on loan a few years back as well. But also some of the other clubs in the league improving. Mostly domestic transfers, it must be said this year, but a few free agent deals as well. So like Barla took Connor Hannon, and he's been playing at Leamington and at Shrewsbury. He's been in the English game basically. So released from a League One academy, and he's coming and joining Barla. What we've got to do though is keep producing these players for the clubs. If we look at the ones that came through in recent years that are currently out on loan, I mean there's some really good news on that front. Gwyn Morgan is now 2.5 star ability, which to put it into perspective is better than Jack Hankin. He's on loan at TNS, has been an ever present with a brilliant match rating. He's got a good personality, his attributes are starting to look really good. So next year I could potentially see him being our backup right back, or maybe even him and Hankin with Keegan Riley at centre half. You just don't know, do you? So he's been a really good one and we hope he'll do well. But I think with players like that, do we have to offer a loan extension to try and get TNS into the European group stages? Because if they've got 7 or 8 players of that quality, surely they might be able to do it. If we look at Aaron Gibbons, who went out to Barry, he's doing a really good job and improving. Stefan Banks at TNS, not doing quite so well, but still playing regularly, still got a good match rating. It's just the attribute side that's not improving as quickly for him. But I think he had a slight knock as well, so we're not going to rule him out just yet. But even some of the ones with smaller potential and bigger ability, John Alex Humphreys, doing really well at Barla, competing regularly and helping them towards the top of the league. So there are a lot of positive signs. But what we need to know is whether our next generation are going to match that. And the early signs from the preview are very, very good. This is a terrific group of players coming through and has the potential to be a real golden generation for the club. Please, Amari, last year you disappointed me a bit with it. Don't do it this year. Let this be really special. Because not only is it a special generation apparently, there's a healthy number of new fullbacks. There's one great goalkeeper. There's a defensive midfielder who could go far. There's a forward who's a fine prospect. We won't ignore that if we can't keep Pringle. And there's one good Welsh defensive midfielder. So it looks like there's a lot of defensive players. There's a lot of quality players. Although it does say a bit earlier on that the fullbacks and the centre-halves aren't the best. So maybe it's the goalkeeper, the defensive midfielder and the striker we're looking at. But even if we get 3, and 3 of them are good enough, I'm not going to complain. So that's to look forward to in a couple of episodes' time, and I really hope we'll have excitement from that. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of work to do. We desperately need to try and get one more defender in of some quality, or we have to accept that Peter Holding's going to make mistakes, but he's going to get a run in the team. We've got to try and get closer to wrapping the title up. We've got a couple of the easier games first, on paper, the Airbus, Aberystwyth, Carmarthen, before we start facing TNS and Barry. But the flip side of that is TNS is then in between the 2 Dynamo Kiev legs where we're going to have to rest people. We're probably not going to be able to play our first team in the Dundee Reserves match in the SPFL Trust Trophy. So there are a few things that we're going to have to take a gamble on. So I guess the next 3 league performances and the results in particular are going to give us some sort of indicator as to what we're going to prioritise. But the plan is that we'll come back for either both legs of Dynamo Kiev in the Europa League first knockout round or TNS at home and the second leg of the knockout round. If we win all of our 3 league games, we'll skip TNS because we've got the 4-point lead is still in our hands, even if we lose that TNS match. If we drop any points though, it'll probably have to be the new Saints on camera. So we'll wait and see what it's going to be. But Dynamo Kiev in Ukraine will certainly form part of the next episode. We'd love to have a repeat of the 6-2 win. Was it last season? The first group stage game, there it is. Tom Jones, who got his first goal off the bench, Max Dean with 4 and Joe Duffy. If we can get Pringle scoring in those big games as well, it could be a wonderful display. But defensively, There's a lot of tinkering and thinking to do. So hopefully we'll have some exciting signing news as well. If you want to find out and you did enjoy this episode, the ups, the down, the crisis and the potential golden generation, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. Let me know in the comments what approach you think I should take defensively. Do we play holding? Do we really try and get him to top quality level and take the hit this year? Or do we have to try and find a makeshift for the short term? We've got a couple of experienced players potentially on the cards, but I don't think any of them are really going to be that consistent, that fit, or that good. So I'm not sure what we're going to do just yet. But let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. A massive thank you for your incredible support as always. You can catch up with all the playlists in the eye above and the Twitch channel in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for the slightly different things we've got on the channel, including a Welsh-based experiment too. But a massive thanks for watching, for your continued support as always. And I'll see you next time. European football will be back, but will we have a fit and able defence to cope with it? I'll see you next time to find out.